Hey, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. A serious subject tonight because we have some, pretty doomy predictions for the coming months. We've all been watching with bated breath on what's been happening in China, and it's very convenient to think of it being so far away, but it's obvious now that it's not so far away, the coronavirus, and it has in fact, the CDC have now had a meeting behind closed doors, and they've declared that it is it's a pandemic. Now, you may have been hearing that word pandemic and not know what the definition of that is. It's actually an epidemic over a large area, and the large area in this particular case is now proving to be global, and it just isn't possible to predict just how severe this thing is, and it's not possible to discount it as being a conspiracy theory and an alarmist thing. This is something that's going to affect all of us. Now, when I say affect all of us, let's just look at, I'm sure that if you've had any concerns at all, you've been on YouTube and you have watched some of the videos that are up there, right? Let me recommend one that I've listened to and found quite useful, and that's a man called Ethan Galstead. Alright, Ethan Galstead, Galstead. Have a look at his channel. He's giving some sobering thoughts on what may actually come about. And one of the things, let's just look at what you're going to need. You're going to actually stock in as much food as you possibly can. Now, in the Philippines, that's going to be relatively easy to do in the first cases, because we're used to eating rice anyway. So ironically, the people who have had the toughest time in living will be used to eating very, very simple, and what's recommended is rice and beans. Rice and beans will keep you going, and it's a fairly simple food. It's easy to prepare. Everybody in the Philippines is used to eating a ton of rice, so that's not going to be anything new. But canned food, if you can get it, obviously. But you'll work out what you need to get, but just plus it, times it more than you think, because it may turn out to be longer than you think. Now, if you've looked at any of the alarming videos that are on that have been claimed to be secretly gotten out of China, showing people dropping dead and all of that, not trying to be alarmist or overacting on this or over dramatic, but it is a deadly virus, and it can catch you unawares, and if you're not used to diagnosing and getting in and doing something about it, then it could be fatal for you. If you're an old person, which is a subject that's not too far away from me, you could also be at risk as well, because your autoimmune system will just not be able to handle it. So when you're laying in supplies, you might want to include some vitamins, especially vitamin C, to keep up your immune system so that you're protected as much as possible. So vitamin C is a very valuable vitamin, so do go on that. But white rice and baked beans, any kind of beans is going to be good. And I think canned food, people in the Philippines are used to existing on canned food and rice, and in fact whenever we've done a giveaway, one of the absolute basic, when we support the people that are having a difficult time getting through the day, let alone the week, one of our giveaway parcels is two kilos of white rice, and I think 1 or 2 cans of sardines and some noodles, because noodles can keep. So many people will not, in the Philippines anyway, it might sound strange to you foreigners out there, but they don't have refrigerators, so it's going to be stuff which is easily kept. We've been through this before, haven't we? When I mentioned it, even to Beth, she said, yes, there's been talk about that, where they're encouraging us to go out and buy food because then they'll make a bigger profit. She's not really looking at the idea that it may be our survival. Now, one of the things that this chap Ethan Golstead has put forward is that there can be a great instability in the government and the way that we are being governed, and the way that decisions are being taken about how things are being handled in a very, very simple way, and it's not hard to imagine that this is possible. There is actually apparently in higher government, maybe it's the UN, one case of someone who has contracted the coronavirus disease. Now, it doesn't take long to work out that the pyramid, he is at the top of the pyramid, and the people that attend to his every need are going to be in line, and then they're going to take that home. And so you have that spreading out of how quickly any virus can spread. So we're actually looking at that, and we're looking at the idea of preparedness. So if everybody goes out all at once, if we all went out tomorrow and tried to draw money from the bank, they would quickly, by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there wouldn't be any money. So that's a good idea of how it's going to be at a grocery store. Your little sari-sari store for the Filipinos is quickly going to run out of stuff. And if everybody did their shopping tomorrow morning, then the stores would actually be run out straight away. So the thing to realize is that everyday life could grind to a halt very, very quickly. Kids will stop going to school. That's going to be an obvious thing, because you've got children going in from a wide area like this and coming down to a school which is like this, and then they're going to be taking out whatever they get at school. So this is very important as well. Everybody knows that if any kid goes to school and with anything that is contagious, it will quickly spread to the children and then to extended families. Now here's something that I wanted to point out, and that is that, let's suppose in Beth and my case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have possibly 10 or 15 close family and extended family, and they are within fairly easy reach. That's everybody that's living on our hill and possibly some more. Now when you do your simple math and say, oh well, yes, well it's 15 or 10 and it's going to be times 3 months, and it's going to come to X amount of dollars, so that's what I need to spend. So I go out and buy so many bags of rice, and I'll do this and I'll do that, and and everybody in my little extended family of 10 or 15 will be okay for the 3 months. It's not going to be as simple as that, because you have people who you are committed to, being friends, being they're part of your loved ones. So unless you have gone out and been more than generous with yourself as to how much provisions you can get for your extended family, you're going to be pressed to help others, and this is something that you're going to have to be very tough. I mean, remember my funny but not actually that humorous way of describing that sometimes when you are in a tough position and you've got to make some tough decisions, you need to go into the bathroom, look in the mirror and practice saying no. Well, you may end up saying some very, very difficult no's, because you'll have to face whose survival is next, whose survival is more important. And there will be people who are going to be in some very, very tough circumstances if this unfolds as it does. Now let's just allow for the fact that it's not going to unfold. And so what's the worst case scenario? You're going to have a ton of food that you don't have to buy in for the next 3 or 4 months. That would be the ideal scenario. But what we must prepare for is the other, the not so good scenario. Okay? The point that our friend Mr. Galstad is trying to make about if people in top government suddenly get infected, the point that he is trying to make is that the way that our life is handled, governed, decided upon, helped, provided for, may become very, very shaky indeed. And we've got to be ready for that too. So, not a pleasure to do a video like this, not a pleasure to think that that's what we have to look forward to. But if it should be that the town that you live in and surrounding towns go into lockdown, boy, if that is the case, and let's face it now, we've got towns, we've got cities in other countries. The most well-known at the moment is Italy, where they're having lockdown. Now, if you've seen any of the photographs of China and Wuhan and what lockdown means there, the streets are totally devoid of traffic and people. And what that means is everything is in lockdown. Everything, you can't go out and buy an egg. Okay, so it's going to possibly be quite a trial. I would say good luck and bye for now.